Kia ora koutou, this is Larissa here from Magical Moon Astrology. I'm here to give you the latest reading in regards to the moon. So tomorrow at 8:05 p.m. there's going to be a new moon in the sign of Pisces. I think that Pisces really allows us to get in touch with our compassion and our caring nature. It is an incredibly sensitive sign. At the moment in Aotearoa, we are experiencing really devastating circumstances. We've had a lot of devastation from Cyclone Gabriel. So there are a lot of people, particularly on the east coast of the North Island, who have been severely impacted by this cyclone. We've had people who have lost their lives, people that have lost everything, and so I think it's important for me to acknowledge that and to just say that my thoughts and prayers are with you, and that it's heartbreaking to hear what is happening, and I just don't think that anyone could have really understood the level of damage and loss that this weather event has caused, and so I'm deeply sorry for that. So in terms of like the reading for this week for the new moon in Pisces, I think that it's really important to get in touch with our emotions, and I think that Pisces really helps us to do that. It is absolutely the most compassionate and sensitive sign. I think that it's really interesting in that it can sort of like bring us in touch with the parts of ourselves that can access unconditional love, and also can help us to connect with pretty much anybody. Like if we really want to, Piscean energy allows us to see the humanity, to see the gold in absolutely everybody, and I think that is the gift that it has to offer us at this time. I think that something to be mindful of is that it can really also sort of bring up this sort of want around rescuing other people, or martyrdom and things like that, and that's just another part of Pisces. And so thinking about the higher octave of rescuing is actually being a supportive person, and really deeply thinking about how is it that we support other people, and particularly with this situation in Aotearoa, what is it that we can do, what role do we have? You know, the reality is that this affects every single one of us. And so it is a time to really deeply reflect and get in touch with that part of ourselves that allows us to have compassion for others. And I know that it can be pretty tricky to be able to work out what ways that we can support, but I think like thinking about making sure that if we have the means, that we might be able to donate some money towards the Red Cross or some of the other organisations who are able to get that direct support to the people that need it. And also it's really important to be mindful of who we're giving our money to, because it's important to make sure that people have their hearts in the right places, and it can be tricky to understand that, but I think being really discerning and where you want to see the support, and also I think so with Pisces as well, what it does is it allows us to connect with our vulnerability and the strength in vulnerability. And so it's an opportunity to be able to recognize that at the moment we might be experiencing a range of like I said, emotions, but also this kind of realization that our lives can change really, really quickly, and that we aren't fully in control of the world around us. And so it sort of like gets us in touch with this wider cosmic picture that allows us to think more deeply about the meaning of life and why we're here, and what it is that allows us to have hope, and what it is that we can do to generate that. And I think it's an opportunity to connect with our spirituality, but also I think it's important to stay grounded in this. I think that there's a tendency with Pisces to kind of float away and potentially dissociate or disconnect, because we can feel so overwhelmed by these feelings, and also this compassion that we're so capable of as human beings. And so it's really an opportunity to sit with those emotions and to really recognize our compassion, but it's important to stay grounded. And so sometimes when I'm not quite sure what to do with a sign or how to be with the fullness of it, it can be, we can look to the opposite sign, which is Virgo. So this is a mutable earth sign. So what that means is that Virgo is service oriented, it's very practical. So what it can do for this Pisces new moon is it allows us to think about what practical support that we're able to offer us, whether it's in relation to the cyclone, or it's to do with the people that are around us. You know, there's just so much happening in our world at the moment, and being able to take some kind of action can really help to alleviate some of that distress or overwhelm that we have around being here on planet Earth. And Virgo is very much about systems and structures and processes that are about improving our day-to-day life. And so I guess having a think about what helps us to do that, what kind of routines, you know, what helps us to focus on improving our health as much as we can, and having a level of gratitude, you know. And I think that these kinds of events also bring that so much closer, whether we intend to or not. We often do feel much more grateful. So new moon in Pisces, it's a time to plant seeds. It's about new beginnings. It's about paving the way for Piscean themes. I think if you're experiencing a lot of emotions and overwhelm, and what do I do with this that's coming up, is really important perhaps to do things like get into nature and ground yourself, connect yourself with other people around you. Pisces is a water sign. It's part of being a water sign is being able to connect to others and having that flow of connection, and that being incredibly important. There can be a tendency with the Piscean energy is to kind of seek alternate realities. So there might be like an urge to cut off or disconnect, like I said before, which can enhance or sort of put us in, at risk of having addiction, and engaging in sort of behaviours that put us in sort of like a kind of a trance where we're able to disconnect from reality. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about like drinking, alcohol, and using drugs, but also too much kind of TV, Netflix, movies, social media, video games. You know, they sort of have a similar effect in like cutting us off any kind of addiction. That's the function that addictions serve, is really to numb our realities and to numb the intensity of our emotions. So I wouldn't like, if you do have a tendency to use those kinds of things to cope, I wouldn't like to stop doing it. But I think with Pisces, because it does rule addiction and this kind of tendency to escape, it's an opportunity just maybe to examine that and set some goals or some guidelines for yourself around ways that you might be able to manage it or reduce those kinds of behaviours, especially with the full moon in Virgo, because it's all about health and it's all about taking charge of our well-being in our day-to-day life and our routine. So now's a really good opportunity to be able to do that. And there'll be a full moon in Pisces later on in the year, in August or September. I haven't looked it up, but when the sun is in Virgo, that's when the full moon will be. And so you might be able to see some results around managing your addictions. I'm just being really straight up about that. I work as a counsellor, and I see this, hear about this addictions quite a lot, and I think particularly during times of stress, that absolutely all of us have a predisposition to do that, to increase those kinds of behaviours. So it's a great time to look at it. Also, yeah, getting in touch with our compassion, and like I said, it's a really creative sign. It's very fertile, so being able to channel some of those emotions into a creative project, or sort of just playing around with different ways of being creative. I think that it's about the artist, it's about being able to channel that part of ourselves, that and turning it into some kind of expression that we can share with the world. So I just want to acknowledge that it is a really tough time in Aotearoa here at the moment, and so please donate to any causes that you feel like will be able to get the support there. It's really hard not being able to get in there and do the hard work that needs to be done, but we're so grateful for those that are able to do that. And it's like a really it's just a time of grief and loss, and also hope, and I think it's really important that we have that, and to acknowledge the bravery of the people in this country. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other, and if you're noticing that emotions are coming up suddenly out of nowhere at the moment, just allow yourself some time to be present with that, because that is real. It is telling us that we are alive and that we're human, and that is a really normal and natural response to what's happening. And just be with yourself. Don't abandon yourself. Really give yourself a chance to experience those emotions, and then also make sure that you're doing the best you can to stick to your routines and things that you enjoy. Get some exercise, get outside, connect with nature, and talk about what you're feeling with others. Make sure that you share this, and I think that that's really, really important at the moment. Okay, so that's me. I'll leave it there, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks to talk about the full moon in Virgo. Take care. Ka kite.